Well, good afternoon. You're listening to the new WCEG Network on WCEG Talk Radio. Click the Livestream tab or watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, WCEG Network. I'm Celeste Giordano, your show host, and we are the Global Legacy and Wealth Building for the next hour. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life in the community. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and on Instagram at WCEG_talk_radio and at WCEG Network. We also have 12 podcast platforms. You can find us on Apple TV, Roku, many other platforms, and also in your mobile apps at WCEG Network TV. So thank you very much for joining us. We have a disclaimer. Last but not least, the topics and opinions are those of the show host and guest and not WCEG Network. And thank you for your continued support. And I'd like to congratulate Penny Rogers and her team at WCEG Network for being #1 in the community talk radio. And you guys have been just doing an awesome job over the years. And this is our 4th season that we are back with WCEG Network. And it is such a privilege and honor to be here today. And thank you, Penny Rogers and the board members, for this opportunity to talk to the WCEG networking community and breathe life into the community. So with that being said, I have some amazing guests with me today. And I get fired up when we start talking about numbers and bookkeeping, accounting and wealth and all kinds of things that have to do with wealth management. And so today I have none other than Sara Poe, who is my dear, dear friend. She's also a very close friend of mine, and she's also the co-founder of Women of Community Impact. And I also have Hannah Chapman with us with Wealth Square. And she is with us coming from Cincinnati, and we're excited to have her today. And before I read their bios, I would just like to welcome you and have you guys say a few words. So glad to have you, Sara and Hannah.
Well, thanks for having us. It's great. It's great to be back on.
It is great to be back on, Sara, and it's great to see your face and to catch up. And I know the summer has given us all time to unwind, especially you after tax season. And you know, I don't know when that may have ended on April 17th, but it probably didn't end for you to win.
It won't end October 15th.
So, but it's great to see you, Sara, and just love the conversations that we've had and just can't wait to have our conversation today and hear what you have to share with our community in the CPA bookkeeping arena for people, especially that this is the last month of the 3rd quarter and we're going into 4th quarter. And I'm going to read your bio in just a minute, but I also would like to turn to Hannah Chapman. And I'm just so excited to have Hannah on the show with us here today. Sara, I met Hannah at a networking group up in Cincinnati when we were doing the backpacks for Women in Community Impact for the New Path in Cincinnati. And it was Beautiful Faces Going Places, Carol Dockham, and then Elevate came together and did a wine and meet and greet, and they delivered items for the backpacks for foster children. And I met Hannah, and her and I just started talking, and it's like we spent the whole night that night just talking about conversations. And I was telling her about our Money Mastermind Women's Club. Can you believe I said that right? Money Mastermind Women's Club.
You did it.
And I said, you know, Hannah, Sara and I have been wanting to start that back up. And so we just started talking. And long story short, you know, Hannah's been doing a series on our Women of Community Impact Coffee and Connections. And it's called Uncovering the Hidden Money Stories. And we did July Discovery, August Alignment, and then this month we're going to do Expansion. So I'm excited to hear what you have to share tonight, Hannah, with our amazing audience at WCEG Network. And I know that it's going to be a great show. So with that being said, anything that you guys would like to say before I read these stellar bios to our audience?
Well, I am just, this is Hannah. I'm so excited to be here and in conversation with you about this. It's a concept that is starting to be known more, right? That we can do so many things on the, outer world of money, as far as learning how to save, learning how to prepare our taxes, and who the right professionals we need to have in our corner in order to help. And all of those things will continue to be an issue if we don't also address our inner feelings around money and the money stories that come up when different situations arise. So I'm just really thankful that this is something that we're able to talk about more openly, that people are connecting with, and being able to kind of heal some of these, old money wounds that we deal with, that we all deal with.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And so, Sarah, what I'm going to do, Sarah, since this is the first time Hannah's been on the show with us, is I'm going to interview Hannah first, and I want to make sure that you jump in with us with questions, because being a CPA is so important from a business and a personal perspective, that as individuals, my top things is, have a good relationship with a CPA, bookkeeper, accountant, the financial advisor, insurance, your insurance person, your banker, a lawyer. So there's a lot of things that when Hannah's talking, I don't want this to be all about Hannah or all about what Celeste's saying. I really want this to be a dialogue. And Sarah, I invite you to jump in at any time with any comments that you have, and vice versa, Hannah, when we're interviewing Sarah, to bring up some good questions, because you two are two of the most important people in an individual or a couple's life, looking to go, whether you're brand new, just starting out as adults and saving, or you've been around and you're looking to retire. You've got to have that balance with a wealth advisor and a CPA or bookkeeper. They go hand in hand, and two hands make more noise than one. So anyways, I'm going to get started, and I'm going to read a little bit about Hannah. She's got so many CFPs, ABCs behind her name. Don't ask me what they are. But anyways, Hannah Chapman is a certified financial planner, accredited portfolio management advisor, a chartered retirement planning counselor with over 17 years of experience in the financial industry, helping business owners and executives plan for and achieve their biggest financial goals and dreams. She is also the founder and CEO of both X Square Wealth Planning and Expansive CEO. She empowers visionary entrepreneurs to save wisely, spend joyfully, and support the cause that matters most to them generously through tailor-made financial planning, bespoke investment management, and transformational heart-centered money mindset coaching. But even more than that, she is a champion for visionary entrepreneurs. She knows that visionaries can function at their highest capacity when they are supported by the right team of experts who can help lighten the mental, emotional, and spiritual load of building a business that will impact thousands and millions of others. And with that being said, please join me and welcome Hannah Chapman.
Thank you. Thank you, Celeste. I appreciate that.
It's so great to have somebody like you on the show, because there are so many people out there who aren't planning for their retirement, who aren't planning for the future. And that's one of the first things I always ask people. Do you have somebody in your corner who can help you with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, Sarah, it's so interesting, to get clients who, it's interesting that most, especially business owners, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, they know they need a CPA, right? Like as soon as they can't figure out taxes on their own, which is usually pretty early on in their business journey, they know that they're supposed to connect with a CPA, get their taxes done right so that they don't, deal with any, negative consequences with the IRS later on. And a lot of people don't know upfront that a CPA and a financial advisor are complementary. They don't do the same things. I do not do people's taxes, but I help them figure out how to tax plan, right? With their
Right.
investments and with their income and different things. There are very complementary things that we do where we need each other, and we need to have, I know with my clients, I always need to have a good relationship with whoever's doing their taxes so that they're open lines of communication. So yeah, I love that, that's a piece for you to say, hey, do you have someone looking out for you in this area too? So important.
And I'm always looking for women financial planners. I have not found very many over my many, many, many years because I'm a woman. I like giving business to another woman, right? So I'm glad to have your information.
Yeah, you too, Sarah. Exactly the same. And I'm not sure what the percentage is for CPAs, but in the financial industry, women only make up less than 20%. It's somewhere between 15 and 20% of financial advisors in total. With CFPs in particular, certified financial planners, the percentage is a little higher. I think it's actually close to 25 or so percent. Show our tendency to, when we do something, right, we want to actually be very, very detailed, very skilled. We are going to do the best job that we can. And we're going to, establish ourselves as authorities in our space, because that's just kind of what we tend to do when we're in these more male dominated spaces. Quite
Absolutely.
honestly.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to jump in with some questions. And before I do, I just want to let our listeners and our audience that we are live streaming live via Facebook and YouTube. And if you have any questions for either Hannah, Sarah, or myself, please put them in your chat spot there. We have somebody monitoring the show, and they will put those questions in for us, and we'll be glad to answer your questions as we go along. So Hannah, what I'd like to do is start with the first question is, what is a money story?
That is the whole thing, right? What is a money story? So when we're talking about uncovering hidden money stories, what does that mean already? So a money story to me is anytime we have anything come up that has to do with money and we have an emotional reaction to it in some way. So let's say you're a business owner and you feel like you really need to hire someone else. Like you're at that point, you really need to hire an associate, an executive assistant, another salesperson, whatever it is. And the money story is going to be the thing that comes up to tell you why you shouldn't, couldn't, can't, what's going to go wrong if you make that step, right? That's the money story. Or after you spend money, if you do, let's say you buy a new car, right? You need a new car, you bought a new car, and you have buyer's remorse kick in. I shouldn't have done that. Well, how am I going to pay for that? What's going to, whatever that is, the thing that comes up that's going to tell you why you should not have done that thing, or why you shouldn't or can't do the thing that you want or need to do. That's the money story.
Well, a money story also, is it not also the way we were brought up, what our parents taught us about money?
Yes. So the fascinating aspect here is that when we're talking about money stories and we're thinking, for most people, I realize this is not everybody, but for a lot of people, you hear the voice in your head, right? So some, you have that internal dialogue going on. And many, many times, if a money story comes up and it doesn't quite sound like my client, I'll ask them, like, whose voice are you hearing? Whose voice is saying that? And they'll talk, oh, stop. You know what? That's my mom. Or, oh, that was my grandma, or that was my old boss, right? That's someone else, their money story, their money experience being imprinted on you, and you taking that story in, even though it's not reflective of your own experience. That's from their experience. But their words are still like rattling around your brain.
Absolutely. So another money story, and I just want to share this coming from a business coach perspective and working with clients. And Sarah, I'm sure you have this money story with your clients, is women, what married couples, women most of the time allow the man to manage and do everything, especially the financial planning aspect. And then God forbid that something happens, and then the women don't know anything about their taxes or their financial well-beings with their financial advisor. Some of them have never even met their financial advisors.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely see that a lot when the woman she's been widowed and now she's by herself, and she'll come in here in tears. I don't know what to do. I said, just sit down and take it one step at a time.
Yeah. And the money story under that is, I can't do this.
And I try to teach them that they can,
Right.
that it's okay. We'll do it together. It'll be fine. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
and Sarah, if you remember, this is why we created the Money Mastermind Women Club. And this was before COVID, where we met once a month and we invited special guests like Hannah and, financial advisors, lawyers and CPAs and different people to come in, and invited women only to come to this, where we could educate and empower them to understand this. And then COVID set in. And so now we're looking to revitalize this, not only in the greater Atlanta area, but as well as up in the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area as well. And because there is a need for that for women. And even it's just as we age, to realize that maybe they haven't looked at their will in a long, long time. And all of a sudden, because they're a part of a women's money club, that they learned about, you know what, we really need to pull our will out and look at this. Or do we have dual power attorney of each other, or whatever it is. It's just a great reminder to educate and empower women today.
And it's good to also remember life changes all the time, right?
Yes.
And major life changes, you need to check your insurance, your wills, those type of things to make sure you're covered. I'll use myself as an example. I got divorced last year. So I just bought a brand new house. I got 9 years to pay that off because I'm not having a house payment when I retire. So I'm going to work my butt off the next 9 years to pay that off. But you have to relook at everything, because when life changes, I've got a house payment again. I never would have dreamed. But life works in mysterious ways to help you have fun.
And God is good all the time, Sarah.
That's right.
Yes. Sarah, you bring up such a good point that the term that actually came to mind as you were talking, Celeste, and then Sarah, you just like here it is gray divorce. That's really, really common in our society right now. And one of the things that I see, so from my seat as a financial advisor, is that, Celeste, you mentioned this as well, that people will, in a couple, there will tend to be one who is more expressive and one who is more reticent.
Mm-hmm.
Typically it is, the man is the one that's taking charge for whatever reason, because that's just, societally who is in charge, and then the woman waits back. What's fascinating is that even in cases where the woman is the breadwinner and the one who does the finances and who is, in charge of the budget and all of that, most financial advisors will still always address the man.
Yes.
And I know, because I witnessed this happening. I was in a practice before I started X Squared Wealth Planning. I was in a practice and I was the only woman out of about 10 advisors. I was the only female advisor. And so I sat in lots of meetings, with other advisors, when they were handing off clients or when I was learning different things like that. And I witnessed it. I witnessed this happening where the wife would ask a question and she would get a nod, and then the advisor would turn and respond to the husband. And I'm like, whoa. He didn't ask that question. And also you didn't actually answer her question fully, and so I know that this is a problem, because these were even advisors who actually did care. They had good hearts. They didn't want, they weren't meaning to exclude the women
Right.
from the process. It was just so ingrained. So in that respect, what I have noticed is that when the party, so we'll use this case. So you have husband and wife, when the wife has been going along with the husband's plan for decades, and she hasn't ever been able to say, this is actually what I really want, there gets to be a point where the resentment builds up so much.
Absolutely.
Because she hasn't been able to express herself and
Yes.
say, this is actually how I want to live, what I want to experience. And, I only have one life here and I want to experience it. And so that's where a lot of these irreconcilable differences start to show up. It's not because they couldn't have been avoided. It's because they weren't coached through the process of allowing each other to talk about things openly. Right. And how, okay, you want to do and experience these things. I want to do and experience these other things. Is there a way that we can both live and experience, the things that matter to us, and then come together also?
Absolutely. Yes. Live at the beach for 6 months and live in the mountains for the other 6.
Right.
Exactly. And Hannah, we covered this in July when the uncovering the hidden money stories, and I think you covered that in the first session for discovery. And you had a little PDF that you provided to our people at the Women's Money Club, whatever. So.
Yes, I
Women's
did.
Money Club. And, so I don't know if that's something that you would like to share nationally or not. I don't know if it has your information on it. So if you want to put it in the chat, and then the person hosting this for us here today can put that out for our customers, because that was a great exercise that I encourage every couple, whether it's husband or wife, partner, whatever it is you have, to go through that discovery of those questions, and to each person do their own. And you'd be surprised where some people are not on the same page of what they were thinking. And some people are on the same page. And again, I want to make it pretty clear here that when we're talking, and we're talking a lot to women too here today, but when we're talking about married couples or partners or whatever, when we're saying that the wife didn't know this, we're no way insinuating that anybody was bad or anything like that. It's just how we have just put that trust factor, and there's nothing wrong with the trust factor, but I've always had the thing, inspect what you expect. And you can put that trust factor there, but you need to know just as well. You need to know the passwords, to all the accounts. God forbid that your spouse gets sick or you get sick, and neither one of you have the passwords to accounts, or you don't know where the will's at, or you don't know who's the beneficiary in your financial thing. I mean, believe it or not, there's people out there that don't even have the paperwork. They maybe have a relationship and talk to the financial advisor. But if you say, well, you surely goodness, you got a copy of this. No, I don't. Well, most places you can log in and you can print that, and you should have those copies. I mean, we have a file for it, and I'm sure each and every one of y'all do. But this is just sometimes, people just take it for granted. And the last thing you want to do is be in a position that you need it and you don't have it.
That is so wise. That's such good advice, because that truly is. And that's just like you said, it's not that everyone has to know literally everything, right? It is completely fine for there to be a partner in any type of partnership who is more excited about or more into knowing the details. But it does mean that both parties need to know who their financial advisor is, be able to reach them, know when they should reach them, right? So, if you have accounts and say you're nearing retirement age, it's extremely sad, but I've experienced this with, unfortunately, multiple couples where one partner passes away either right before retirement or literally right at retirement.
After retirement.
Yeah, like within a month. And it was extremely, extremely sad. And the partner was involved enough in all of that that she knew, okay, like my advisor is one of my very first calls so that I can make sure that I can still pay my mortgage, that I know how to access everything, that life will like move forward still. And I have someone in my corner to help me navigate all of this. Right. And so knowing who your support people are is such an important aspect, especially when you get towards those retirement years, and having someone, if it's not for you. So in my household, I'm a financial advisor, right? All that, I'm typically the one that deals with all the bills, deals with all the financial stuff, but I don't want my husband to have to be scrambling to figure if something happens to me. He needs to know exactly, okay, you call this person, you are joint on all of the accounts, all of the beneficiaries are set up in the way that will, things will flow correctly, and you will be okay. And someone will walk you through what you need. So yeah, having a financial advisor isn't necessarily just for your lifetime, right? It's for helping the people you love when you're not here anymore.
Right.
Absolutely.
And
What
another
that,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead, go ahead, Sarah.
There's another situation I've seen too, is a couple is under second marriage, right? And they have certain things that they want to go back to their kids or whatever, or if they have things they want to go to their now wife. I've seen a lot of couples make estates for that kind of stuff, so there's no questions. Some kids can't take this or take that or it's there's no questions asked. This is exactly how they want it. If the will's lost or whatever, you still know what they want. So because things happen when money's involved, I've seen crazy things happen.
When your parents pass away or when a spouse, yes, blended families, you don't want to think about that. You don't want to say that, oh, everyone's just going to get along and be fine. Guess what?
No.
It's not that way. It's not. And if you leave anything up to interpretation, then you are causing so much stress on those who are remaining. And especially again, with a blended family, or, someone who marries, maybe they have a younger spouse with young children. Yeah, maybe they do want to leave money to support that spouse, but they don't want to cut their adult children out of their will. Right. You have to be very intentional about how you designate your beneficiaries, about how you write things into your will or into a trust, preferably if that's the case, so that your adult children, if you want them to inherit from you, that they are protected. I've seen it happen, and I've seen it go a way where when I'm not, I have to honor the client as a CFP, even if it goes against what, the other client's wishes. If it's not in writing, there's, our hands are tied.
Right.
As professionals, even though it might hurt my heart to know that that's not
deep down, that's not what was intended.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what I was going to say, Hannah, when what you were talking about, and when you were saying that spouses need to, have conversations with wealth advisors, things of this nature. As a business consultant coach, one of the things I advise all my clients is, you on a quarterly basis, you need to have a conversation. You need to build that relationship, not just your spouse with the financial advisor, your spouse with the CPA who does your taxes. It needs to be a joint conversation, at least quarterly, where they can put a name and a face together. They have that relationship with each other. And so long term, whether something does happen or doesn't happen, everybody knows one another and they have a relationship. And as you say, what's in writing and the best thing. And you also know that you need to update your wills every so often. And if there is a blended family, there's certain things that you would advise them to do, and that they would also have executors and things of that nature, and helping them choose that. And as the other thing is, and I'm going to bring this out here, and I know it's getting a little bit off base, but everybody needs to have a dual power of attorney in your relationship. Okay. Or even if you're single, you need to have somebody as you are aging that has a dual power of attorney that can make those decisions, and that, because you just never know on the snap of a finger when you may lose those cognitive skills, or you could get struck with a very bad illness, or that you could have an accident and die. And that dual power attorney is going to save a lot of heartache.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's in the, in the comprehensive financial planning process, that's all part of it. I mean, people maybe don't know all of what we go through. When you work with a CFP, there are some set areas that most of us will all look at together. So yeah, retirement. What are you saving? Yep. We'll look at that. Do you have kids that you want to plan for education? Yes, that will be in there too. But we're going to look at your insurance needs. Is your family protected in the case that you pass away prematurely, or are permanently disabled in your working years, or, need long-term care? We're going to look at those, right? It's a big deal.
That's a whole new subject in itself right there, that so many people rely strictly on their corporate America insurance, and they don't have a separate insurance plan. Mm-hmm. If they should lose their job or whatever, when they retire, they have no insurance.
Right. Yeah. And depending on, when you retire, if you still have a mortgage to pay, if you still have kids mm-hmm. going through college, like it behooves you to look and to give thought to it. It doesn't mean that you need multiple millions of dollars of life insurance necessarily, but you should have the conversation to understand if that's something that you need. And we also look at estate planning, right? So a financial advisor is not a CPA, right? So we do not give tax advice in that way. We are also not estate planning attorneys. We do not write wills or durable powers of attorney or healthcare powers of attorney. But what we do know is how all of those things inform and affect each other.
Yes.
So that we can say, here is what you want to talk to an attorney about. Here are the things we want to protect. Here are the ways that you have told me you want your assets to be distributed, or the charitable intentions that you want to work with, or the ways that you want your children to be able to access their inheritance depending on their age, right? We can help communicate that on your behalf to your estate planning attorney, to your CPA, to your bookkeeper, all of those things. Your financial advisor is almost like your financial quarterback in helping make sure that your wishes are being taken care of in all of those areas, because they all tie in together. And so that's where I am I'm such an advocate for having, again, a full team, the full spectrum of professionals that are there to support you.
Absolutely. We have a question here from someone in the audience that says, what are reasons why people think or feel that they do not need a financial advisor or a CPA? Sarah, you want to answer that?
Well, the CPA one, I can go with that one. A lot of times their taxes are not that complicated, right? There are a couple of W-2s, a couple of kids, and that's about it. They don't necessarily need that. Now, if they have a major life change, that could change. But I get people that come in here that are very capable of doing their taxes. They just look at me and go, I just don't want to do it, right? I don't want to deal with trying to figure out every year what they've changed, what they don't change. If it's fairly simple, I get it. But then there's been many years that I've redone taxes.
Yeah. Well, and again, I'm going to bring this back to hidden money stories. If you grew up in a home that your mom or dad did the taxes for you, this or that, and there wasn't an emphasis on that. I've had a CPA since in my early 20s. I've never done my taxes. I've always had a CPA do it. And that's because I started business early. I was an entrepreneur early in the early 20s. And the thing of it is yes, you can, like you said, Sarah, you can try to do it yourself, this or that. But you know what? It's worth your peace of mind that you pay somebody that gives you those monthly or quarterly P&L statements, and that they do your tax returns. And I can just tell you, they're going to cross their T's, dot their I's. They're going to protect you. Chances are you'll have no audits or very few audits if you're, and that you're going to get the most money and bang for your buck is what you're going to get. So I just agree that people just some people don't need a CPA. They need a bookkeeper, accountant at certain stages of their life. And then some people do need a CPA. Is true or false, Sarah?
True. It's like I tell people all the time, I'm not a financial planner, but you really need to get one. I don't care if you've got this much money or this much money. You need one to help you keep as much of it as possible and to plan for the future.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Your answer to that, Hannah?
Yeah. So there are a lot of different types of financial advisors. And I think the fact that financial advisor specifically is not a protected term. And so I have had lots of clients who have had different experiences with people who call themselves financial advisors and do not have all of the experience and depth and breadth of knowledge to actually, do all of the complicated planning work that a client would need. And so there has been a reaction to that says, well, why would I pay a financial advisor? I can just put my, money in index funds and just, do it myself. So there's been an interesting, dance, I'll call it, over the last couple of decades, right? Because of some tendencies in the industry itself and reactions to the fees that people pay. Right. So when you don't understand the fees that you're paying, or when you are paying investment management fees, so most people know what that means. I invest with a financial advisor, they're going to take a fee. Yeah, they are, because that's how they get paid. And there are different ways that advisors can get paid, where maybe they are only getting paid if you invest money with them and they sell you things, and that's how they get paid. And so they have to keep selling you things in order to keep getting paid. Or you can go the other direction and go to an advisor that gets paid for the advice that they give. And so that is how I work, right? Where it's my financial planning process, all of that has its own fee. So that it's completely unbiased advice. It's fiduciary advice because you're paying me for my advice, regardless of how it gets implemented. This is all, what you say you want and need as we go through our discovery process, which I did drop that PDF right in the chat there so we can distribute that to everyone, because it's really important to do the discovery. And then implementing that process, right? We can do that too. You can do that with someone else. But yeah, there has to be a personal relationship. You have to understand that, your financial advisor is listening to you, is looking out for you as an individual, and that when you pay them, you are getting time with them as well. So that is the main pushback that I have seen over, almost 2 decades in this industry, the shift away from paying for products, right? Being like, I don't want to be, paying someone on commission. I don't want to get a product and know that my advisor is only recommending it because he's getting, or she is getting, a commission.
Commission, exactly.
Right. And because that's what the industry did for a really long time.
Yes.
And so as we move away from that, there's a new wave of financial advice that is paid for separately from the investment management advice so that you know what you're getting. So for most people, I say all that to say that, there are some people who, if you have the time, the interest and inclination and the energy to do all of the research and do it all yourself. Yeah, there are people who, like, when they retire, like they want to do the stuff. They love paying attention to the stock market. They love doing the investments. They love researching all the stuff. And they, the lifelong learners that have to keep learning. Yes, maybe it's fine for you. And maybe it's just a matter of getting a second opinion every once in a while to see, am I missing anything? Is there anything I should be thinking about that I'm not thinking about? Right. But it's not like a constant relationship that you have. It's just a, check in every once in a while. Because think about this too. Say there is one spouse who is the one who loves all that stuff. If you pass away and your spouse has no clue what's going on, they are going to need someone else to support. And so there needs to be some sort of relationship for that purpose.
Right.
But for most people either do not have the time to spend because it takes a lot of time to understand everything you need to know, or they don't have the inclination. They don't really, really care about all the financial stuff. They just want to know,
they're okay.
How do I do it? Yeah. How, tell me the things that we need to do to achieve these goals and I'll do it, but I don't want to figure it out for myself. So those really, that's the demographic of people that I serve are, again, business owners, because they've got so much other stuff going on that they really do need to carve that off of their plate so that they can spend time on their business.
Doing what they do best, growing their business.
Right.
And that's something Celeste taught me very early on. Sometimes you have to spend money to make money. In the beginning, most business owners want to try to do it all, wear every hat. So they do some things very well, some things really bad, some things just barely get by. When you're trying to do all of that yourself, you can't do it all well. So if you can hire somebody who can help you with that, to take some of that pressure off, yes, it costs you money, but in the long run, how much did you gain instead of lose?
Absolutely.
Yes.
If you're a business entrepreneur, you got to do one thing and one thing best. What I do best, I'm a master sales strategist and a business mentor. And what I want to do is build relationships and have conversations with people of how I can help and serve them. I don't want to be the one going in the back end and learning about coding or how I'm going to post this or how I'm going to do this or how do I make a copy and do this and put these little words in there or make a video. No, I'm not even allowed to. I don't even have a password for those things. My team won't even give me the password because I'm not allowed to touch it. So anyways, I want to make sure we have time. I want to have some questions for Sara, Hannah. So you were talking just a minute ago, how do you work with your clients that different from other financial advisors? Anything else that you would like to add to that, please?
Really that I take a very heart-centered approach to it, and that we are all unique individuals. And so what's right for one couple, one individual, one family unit is not right for everyone. And so we have to take a special, individualized, unique approach. We take all of the tools in our tool basket and we use the right ones for you. We never, put people into just, here's your cookie cutter.
Yeah.
It's not how it works. I won't do it that way. So.
Absolutely. And my last question is, what does holistic financial planning mean to you?
Holistic financial planning to me means that we are honoring and being present with the whole person at every meeting. So my purpose in this relationship is to really be a safe space for you to tell me all your hopes and dreams. Tell me the things that are coming up. Tell me the things that you have questions about, and just move through those money stories. When things come up, they get emotional sometimes. And when things come up between couples, it gets emotional sometimes. And so having a safe space to deal with those issues so that they can come to light and be be known so that you can move forward in your financial goals. I mean, every once in a while, it feels like people say, you basically do like marriage counseling too, huh? Well, yep, sometimes. That truly, right? And it's
even in business consulting, I do a lot of that.
exactly. And that's what holistic means, is that you're seeing the other person across from you as a whole person. This is not about the data and the numbers. It's about how you feel about the data and the numbers, and how we bring everything, your whole system, your emotional system with your mental system all together.
All right. And closing for you, Hannah, what is the one biggest takeaway that you would like our audience to take away from today? What would be the biggest takeaway?
The biggest takeaway is that you are unique. You as a person are important in the expression that you have to share with the world, and that you deserve to be honored and treated as such in all the relationships in your life, that you do have unique goals and dreams. And I would really encourage you to do the Light Up Your Desires journaling prompts, and just see where it takes you, and allow yourself to have your own dreams, your own goals, and have the conversations that come from that.
Absolutely. And thank you for those wise words of wisdoms here today with the WCEG Talk family. And also for those of you listening, if you want to hear more about Hannah, she's going to be with, I'll be interviewing her with the Money Mastermind Women's Club on Wednesday, September 27th from 12 to 1. It's a lunch and learn. You can go to my Facebook page or LinkedIn, Celeste Giordano, and register and join us for a lunch and learn. And we're going to be talking about expansion, and we hope that you will join us. So I'm going to dive right in with Sara here. Sara, what are the tax extension deadlines?
So this Friday, people, is partnerships and S corporations. October 15th, well, it's actually 16th. That is personal and C corps. Now, a lot of people get confused because you would think this is business and that's personal. Well, C corp is business, but IRS in their wisdom thought it was best to put that with the personal. I know a lot of people don't always know those, but this Friday is partnerships and S corps.
Yes. And so those are the tax extension deadlines that need to be done, correct?
Correct.
And then October, what is October?
It's C corps and personal.
Okay. They have to be done right there.
They have to be done, yes. And there's no additional extension like there was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, you could go and say, oh, I didn't get it done. Now you can't do that. Well, you can, but you're going to pay for it.
You're going to pay. Exactly. So those are our tax extension deadlines that are coming up. And basically, people need to make sure they get it done.
Yeah, because then e-files shut down in November because they have to update the computer system, right? So they need some time to do that. So the e-file shuts down usually at Thanksgiving and doesn't come up till the end of January to the middle of February. So then if you do tax return after that, you're mailing it. Well, that's a whole nother host of problems.
Absolutely. That's another show in ourselves for us to talk about that, Sara. And I do hope that we'll get on the books and get something, especially either with Women in Community Impact, Coffee and Connections or something. We need to do that, or with the Money Mastermind for Women, we need to do that. What is the best time to do tax planning?
Now. Don't wait till January because it's too late. We can't fix anything you did in this year in January. I mean, I have people come here and they sold a vacation home and I'm going, you did what? You didn't call me? There's not a lot I can do for you now. Or, they take out their 401k. Why? There's no exception. You're paying that penalty right now. Tax planning is huge. I try to get people to come in June and July. I know that's early, But nobody wants to come to a tax office in June and July. There's a lot of free time because everybody's on vacation. That's not what they want to be doing. But you also don't want to wait till December to do it because people go on vacations. I take the last half of December off.
Takes time to do things.
Right.
So, about this tax planning, whether it's tax planning or wealth planning, it goes back to that philosophy. You just don't go see your CPA bookkeeper at tax time. You don't go see that wealth planner, once a year. People build relationships and go see these people every quarter. I do a talk on how to finish strong in the fourth quarter. You got to own this fourth quarter. And this fourth quarter can make or break your wealth. It can make or break your tax planning. It's important that you get with your wealth advisor as well as your CPA, accountant, and bookkeeper, as Sara said, to see what you may need to do. You may, if you're getting P&L statements, you may need to buy some things this year as opposed to next year and make that investment. A CPA can help you with that decision.
Mhm.
You like you said, you may have sold a home and you have to reinvest that money. Or maybe you're buying a new home and you may need to get with your wealth advisor because maybe you need to do something with some of the money you have there. But, you can't just reach out to these people at the last minute and then you expect them to jump through hoops for you.
Right. And this is the time of year to be thinking about your retirement. How do you want to do that? Make sure you've got that money paid in. There's a new law in Georgia that an S Corp or an LLC can pay their taxes through that entity and they get a tax break on their federal return, right? And their state return. That's new. If you don't come see me, how do you know that?
Right.
How can I help you with that?
Absolutely. So, Sara, what is the quickest way to put up a red flag for the IRS?
Do not pay your payroll taxes. Go to jail. That is the number one thing that the IRS absolutely despises, because that money is all put into a trust fund. Because when tax season comes along, they've got to have money to refund to people. Well, if a third of us don't pay our payroll taxes, then there's no money in the trust fund, right? So then they're going to get light and not have enough money on the trust fund to pay people's refunds. So yes, that is the number one thing that rises a red flag for the IRS.
So what about personally, for individual?
For personal, there's a few things there, but not reporting all your income. You don't have to report every deduction, but you've got to report every penny of income. I had a client whose bookkeeper wasn't doing the books properly. So we figured that out. We fixed the books. I had to go back through 2 years of returns to make sure that we did it properly. We had underreported expenses. That's okay. You're not going to get in trouble for that. You may pay a little bit more. So we have to look at that whole picture to see if that's really the best thing. When home office came along, that was a huge red flag. No, it's not. So many people use that, and there's that safe harbor you can do. There's no questions asked. Personally, if you do mileage, do an app, do a third-party app. The IRS loves that.
Absolutely. That was something, Sara, that you have shared with many lunch and learns that you and I have done together. One thing that I picked up, we always get the oil changed, before the end of the year, between Christmas and New Year's, because, that puts your mileage in there. You do it at the end of the year, and, so what your mileage is for that year. And then the mileage apps that you said are great.
Oh, yeah, I was on a cruise ship and we were stuck out in the ocean. Not that I was complaining because there was a hurricane. We couldn't get back. But it was so funny. My mile IQ was just tracking all those nautical miles every day as we were going in a circle. But it worked. It served its purpose. But the IRS will not argue about that. If you do have a home office, when you set it up, take a picture of it. When you
Yes.
donate stuff, take a picture of it. You know, at one point we used to write everything down. Now I take pictures of things because there's no better evidence than a physical picture where they can see that.
Well, and there's also a thing for your receipts today. There's so many different apps and things to
Yes.
maintain your receipts. I mean, that's the biggest thing that you get a lot of times, Sarah, is people come in with these boxes with all these papers and they say, here.
And
Figure
you
it
can't
out.
read half of them.
You know, and the thing, yeah, the
Yeah.
thing of it is that, you know, people, it doesn't take no effort to compile your receipts and do it on a monthly basis and then put it in an envelope or whatever and give it to the CPA or the accountant. And, you know, now you got 12 envelopes of everything. I mean, what starts out right ends up right. What starts out wrong ends up wrong. You know, it's just a matter of getting in a habit of doing all the right things.
Well, I've got somebody going through a Georgia Department of Revenue audit, right? They don't have any receipts. They said, well, they won't just take my checking account, my credit card statements. I said, that gives them an idea what it is, but it doesn't tell them exactly what you bought. What if you went to Walmart, you bought everything for your household, not for your business? How do they know that? And your
Sure.
credit card or your bank statement just says Walmart. Doesn't say what you bought. So they can deny every single bit of that. And you got to pay all those taxes on all that. And,
I'll
and
ask-
you- and when you look, when you have a return due for it, look, when you have a return prepared for you, go over it with your preparer. Understand what they're doing. I've had to fix returns where people have done their return and they put Avon on there. I said, you sold Avon? No, I never sold Avon. Well, that person was trying to bring down their taxable liability. You don't need that. You don't need to have to not pay here and then in 5 years pay 3 times as much when you get audited for it. It's not worth it.
No, you know, it's just simple, people. You do the right thing at all times. And you hire the right people to protect you. You hire the right wealth advisors, the right CPA, bookkeeper, accountant. Have that relationship with that banker. You know, we live in a digital era where everything is direct deposit, this or that. People don't go into the banks anymore. You know what? Get your butt in the bank and get to know who your banker is.
Mhm.
And build a relationship with them. Even if it's just to say hello, bring them some cookies or something, but have that relationship. And you should be doing the same thing with your insurance advisor. You know, whether you have car insurance, homeowners insurance, business insurance, whatever it is that you have, you need to have a relationship once a quarter with these people and let them know what's going on. It's important. And you know, get some estimates. You know, I was just having this conversation yesterday. I'm the type of person that I have a relationship. I have the same CPA for 40 something years. I have the same termite inspection people for 31 years that at my home. I have the same pest control people inside our house for 31 years. The same home phone service with ATT for 30 years, which I just don't recommend that right now. But anyways, but the point is it's a relationship, you know, jumping around and check those things and validate those things and then build those relationships where they're serving you first, because it's all about you. It's all about people over profit.
Absolutely.
And this has really been a great show, ladies. I just appreciate everything that you have shared with our WCEG Talk Radio family. And Sarah, what is one thing, if anything, that you would want the audience to get from you today?
If you don't understand what we're preparing for you or doing for you, ask questions. Always understand. Walk out of here understanding what exactly is on that tax return and what you can do better for the next year or what you could have changed, or just understand completely what you're signing. You're signing your name to that. Ultimately, that's your responsibility, not mine.
Absolutely. So for our listeners, Sarah, just would you tell our listeners how they can get a hold of you if they'd like to have a conversation with you?
Sure. Our office number is 770-545-8841. And our email is info@POE, CPAS.com.
And it's Pose Accounting, right?
Yes.
Services.
No,
And
Pose CPAs. I've shortened the URL. I've gone from this long URL to this long because
Absolutely.
having to write all that was not fun. And they don't teach you that in the beginning.
Right. And you are Sara Poe. You are the CEO and founder of Pose Accounting Services.
Correct.
All right. Hannah, would you tell our audience how they can get a hold of you for a complimentary call, please?
Absolutely. You can reach me at area code 513-783-2088. And you can go onto my website directly and book a free call there. It is X2 wealth.com. So X2 WEALTH.com. And you can, book a time on my calendar to get to know one another a little bit. So I would love to hear from anyone from this.
Absolutely. And I encourage our listeners to reach out to them, have a complimentary call with them. If they can't help you, I promise you they can put you in the right direction. I'm Celeste Giordano with CelesteGiordano.com. I'm a master sales strategist and a business mentor. You can reach me at CelesteGiordano.com and 888-692-6170. And you have a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you, ladies.
Thanks, ladies.
Thank you.